So more often than not, I cover Tokyo Revengers a day after it airs just because of scheduling conflicts and things like that. So usually what ends up happening is I'll see some sort of buzz if something crazy happens in an episode. I didn't see anything for this episode, so I thought maybe it's just going to be more of a setup style episode, and honestly, that was my expectations pretty much immediately, as most of the episode was them kind of talking about the hierarchy and what's been going on. So when that beatdown popped up, I was like, okay, it's gonna be like a couple of seconds. Man, that's pretty insane. Baji's without a doubt a monster. No, they really highlighted just how much of a beatdown this test of faith was, because changing from one gang to the other, especially one that very much has a different vibe than Mikey's gang. I mean, you take a nice looking place originally and you just have it filled with people smoking, drinking, beating the shit out of each other as they're saying they're gonna tear down Mikey's gang. And you bring someone from said gang to be a witness, and immediately my red flags were going. I was like, obviously Takemichi isn't gonna die here, but I mean, if we rewind to like the first couple of episodes of this show, he was getting like his ass handed to him by a guy with a baseball bat. So I was like, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they send Takemichi back with a broken leg, broken arm, broken jaw, broken body, and just let him live with just a sliver, just a little bit of health left, as he's probably bedridden. I could see something like that happening. I mean, we're dealing with a show about time travel. It wouldn't be net like crazy to think that, he gets up in a full body cast, has to transport himself into the future, and then come back after his body's healed. Seriously, this show is definitely a ride, and I'm glad that they're not like shying away from what a gang is, like the brutality of it, because it's very easy to look at like Mikey's gang a lot of the times, especially when you see the flashback where you have Kazutora and the other founding members, finally getting their jackets. You see a little Mikey eating a hot fudge sundae by the looks of it. It's easy to say, oh, this gang is them just playing up, delinquents. They're not actually all that bad. But they are. Like, they're doing illegal activities, even if they're only going after other gangs so far. I mean, we see where Mikey's gang goes in the future when things don't go according to plan. So to see a gang like this, a group of people everyone can probably agree don't deserve to have freedom, I mean, it's pretty, it's horrifying. And I'm glad that they didn't shy away either, because it wasn't like we just saw a couple of punches. What we just saw was like beyond cruel. There was nothing humane or human about what we witnessed. It wasn't like, you beat up a former comrade who's been by your side. This was a man, I mean, it looks like death to me, and if not, I don't see how he doesn't have internal bleeding, if not brain damage, after literally getting his face impaled while on what seems to be like concrete, a very hard floor. It's brutal. Really, I think looking at the structuring of the episode, it's actually kind of brilliant, because the first, literally half of this episode is sitting in the classroom. I mean, you have 2 minutes of recap, the intro kicks in, so about minute 4, give or take, we start the episode. For 5 minutes, we're sitting in a classroom talking about the hierarchy of different gangs, who's who, and then you introduce someone who's clearly going to be trouble. His most trusted allies, he broke their legs the day before, as you're casually traveling to their headquarters, and seriously, anything was possible at that point. It feels like whatever happened to Kazutora is easily what is the reason why someone like Baji is deciding to switch over sides. What I assumed was going to happen, but I just don't know what actually caused him to, feel so betrayed, because he did say he was in juvie, right? So did Mikey make him take the fall for something? Is that going to be the direction? It's hard to say. All I know is that Tokyo Revengers is definitely a show that it knows how to make you emotionally invested, but equally scared alongside the characters. I think Takemichi being the protagonist and the, quote-unquote hero of the story is great, because when he gets beat up, when he gets, inspired or fearful, you kind of feel equally alongside of him. It acts almost like a self-insert, while still being his own character all at the same time, which is a really great formula for a show like this, where naturally, we are all normal, everyday people. We're not going to be a part of this style of life, right? And Takemichi, when he was roped into it, and even growing up, never would have been a part of that, right? Really, it's more of playing up the part rather than actually committing to it. And to see him, now be a normal guy and really in the thick of the situation is really interesting, because You know, based on the growth we've seen, I think the fact that the promise that he made to his dying girl in the future, the fact that that was his biggest reason to go with Kazutora, I think is a great indicator that this is a man who constantly changes, but in realistic ways. He's not just going to get beat up once or see someone die once and be like, you know what, I'm A-okay. I'm going to flip off my humane switch and I'm just going to be able to navigate gang lifestyle. No, it's going to be a very gradual transition. And I think this is actually a great indicator of such. He's pissing his pants, he's fearful, but he knows he has to do something. It's reckless in a lot of ways, and I mean, I think it's similar to how he punched a couple weeks back a guy in the face who literally just got promoted. But I think in this situation, given the fact that the man he's supposed to bring back, who knows all of his gang's secrets, this is the moment. I mean, he's seemingly being, like, accepted, everything's going to be A-okay for him. This is his moment. Even if he dies, this is what he has to do as per Mikey's orders. This is a man who's had a lot of growth, and I think that's why when people just simply call him a crybaby hero, where it's different for the characters in the show, but I think a lot of anime fans really discredit how far Takemichi has come in honestly a short amount of time. It should be a gradual transition with really good points to highlight where he's kind of improved along the way. The punch couple weeks back, this episode in particular, I think there's just so many great points, and honestly, the sky's the limit as per usual for Tokyo Revengers. I really still have a bad feeling about next week and probably the week after. I truly feel like Takemichi, while he probably won't end up in a full-body cast, I could easily see one of two things happening. The first of which is he somehow leaves that building, no harm done to him, but something really bad will happen to his girl, or will try to happen to his girl, which will probably end up, you know, him really pushing her away so that she doesn't get in harm's way. Or two, he's gonna leave that building with a broken arm, or a broken leg, something like that. I mean, it would make more sense for the leg, because given the fact that he broke one of his allies' legs that are very close to him, it'd make total sense to break the man who you might have a smile with, but really, he is the enemy, all things considered, and it kind of feels very in line for gang lifestyle. You're sending back a messenger who not only has hurt himself, but also literally has a message about what just happened to one of your own. Though it would make a lot more sense if you're going to send a messenger back, beat him to a bloody pulp similar, just don't let him die or anything like that. He'll be able to walk, but his face, you probably won't be able to recognize Takemichi. If he gets out there, no harm done to Hina, I would be shocked, but there'd be ways to write it to make it work. It's just, this is the kind of show, given the situation and the groups we're a part of and interacting with, you kind of assume the worst is going to happen because they are literally delinquents, and most of them deserve to be thrown in the slammer. Next week we'll probably show the backstory. I imagine we'll probably kick off into that, and then whatever happens to Takemichi is, probably going to be the end of the episode, and I am very fearful but excited as per usual. But let me know your thoughts and feelings on this week's Tokyo Revengers episode. Definitely was a setup in some ways, but it was kind of exhilarating all at the same time. Let me know down below, drop a like to help promote the video, and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time everyone, please take care and have a good one.